Hello, a very warm welcome to all of you. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. So, how are you guys doing? I hope all well, all good. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah. Chale, good evening, Ashneet. Good evening, Sukriti. So, today, in another round of RSTV debate, right, बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक डिस्कस कर रहे हैं आज हम राइट इंडिया आसियान समिट जो रिसेंटली कंक्लूड हुआ एंड we are going to discuss the geopolitics of this region also. Okay. Now, generally, it is considered that to a very large extent, right, the Southeast Asian countries they are being influenced by China, right? So they're slowly entering into the sphere of the Chinese, and thereby this may pose a certain bit of challenge with respect to the development aspect of India, right? भाई इमीडिएट नेबरहुड भी है सो ऑटोमेटिकली हम कहते हैं कि 21st सेंचुरी बेसिकली बिलोंग्स टू ईस्ट है ना सो विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द ईस्ट वेस्ट तो डेवलप हो चुका है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द ईस्ट डेफिनेटली ये रीजन दिस होल्ड्स अ लॉट ऑफ सिग्निफिकेंस इन द करंट टर्म्स ओके so it is very crucial for us to understand what kind of developments are taking place because we can quote some of them right and we can outline that this is the way forward or this must be the things that must be concentrated or this must be something that should be pushed in the next few years okay तो आज हम इसी सिचुएशन में बिल्कुल यही वाला टॉपिक इवैल्यूएट करेंगे एंड विल ट्राई एंड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट हैज बीन हैपनिंग अराउंड राइट आई होप यू आर फेमिलियर विद द बेसिक्स विद रिस्पेक्ट टू आसियान सभी को पता है आसियान है क्या व्हाट काइंड ऑफ ग्रुपिंग इज इट राइट नहीं भी पता है do not worry I'm going to discuss even the basics also so I'll tell you the static part regarding ASEAN what is it formulated what are the number of countries that we have and one critical aspect that we are also going to talk about is ASEAN and RCEP right now because India has quit out of RCEP what can be the possible impact तो वो भी देखेंगे ठीक है चलिए so good evening everyone welcome to another round of RSTV debate. Let's start our class for today. So the context is that recently India participated in the 17th ASEAN India Virtual Summit in which the Prime Minister, he was present and he underscored. He said that enhancing all kinds of connectivity, including social connectivity, digital connectivity, financial sphere connectivity, right? With the ASEAN grouping is one of the priority for India. ठीक है तो वही जो नॉर्मल बात कहते हैं कि आपके रीजन के साथ कनेक्टिविटी जो है एक क्रूशियल हिस्सा है दिस इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट लेट्स से क्रूशियल एस्पेक्ट्स वेयर वी वांट टू एनहांस आवर रिलेशंस विद द कंट्री इटसेल्फ सो इंडिया वाज इनवाइटेड बाय वियतनाम एज वियतनाम इज बेसिकली होल्डिंग द चेयरमैनशिप राइट नाउ ओके So summit took place amidst China's aggressive behavior in the disputed South China Sea as well as in the eastern Ladakh region. Next, what are the important key takeaways from this recent ASEAN summit? क्या-क्या key takeaways हैं? क्या-क्या इससे जो है we can basically gather up? So one of the crucial aspects is that we know this is also one of the regions which is going to face the brunt of COVID-19. ये भी हमें पता है, right? And from population point of view, you can understand that ASEAN also, if you collectively look at this 10-member grouping, this also comprises of a lot of population. So, overall looking at the fact that these are also your developing countries to a very large extent, this region is again a bit important for us also. And this region is also going to bear the brunt of COVID-19 almost in a similar manner as Indian economy has faced, right? तो ये similarity देखने को मिलती है. So looking into the economic losses that occurred due to ongoing pandemic and further create strategies and measures that can help us in recovering the economic losses. So if possible, if a joint strategy can be developed, right, if there is something that we can learn from them or if there is something that we can learn from them, that is something that we would like to develop, right. Next आता है इसमें India has also highlighted Indo-Pacific policy which is as an area of convergence for ASEAN and India, right? That India and right, ASEAN, we can totally relate to how or what kind of relations we want to maintain in the Indo-Pacific region, right? Because both these countries, they are going to play a very crucial role with respect to the two oceans and the connectivity and the maritime trade that is going to continue in the years to come. Okay. Next, India and ASEAN countries, they announced that they will explore ways to increase trade between them despite India's exit from 15 nation RCEP economic partnership. मैं इसी की बात कर रहा था. I was talking about the same thing, that India quitting out of RCEP did pose a very big question mark that what kind of relationship will India maintain with ASEAN, right? Why? Because RCEP was floated, the idea was mooted by ASEAN only, and thereby it becomes very crucial for us to understand what is going to be the relationship aspect of India and ASEAN. So India has iterated the fact, India has said that even though we have moved out of RCEP agreement, right, and we may have certain reservations against it, but still we would like to develop our relations, trade relations with ASEAN at least, okay, as per the free trade agreement that we have with the grouping. Next, all the countries, they stress the importance of rule-based order. Now, this is something that was more like a signal to, right, China, you can say, to a very large extent, because China to a large extent is trying to disrupt this rules-based order, right? So all countries, they stress the importance of rule-based order in the region, including through upholding the adherence to international law, especially the UN clause. सुना है आपने ये UN clause? Has anyone or can anyone tell me what UN clause is? UNCLOS. UN तो पता है, United Nations. What does CLOS stand for? बता सकते हो आप? United Nations Convention. Convention है ये. This is a convention. Anyone? Will you like to reply? Nobody? Arre? United Nations Convention on Law of Open Seas. खुले समुद्र में, है ना? खुले समुद्र में जहां पर देशों की बाउंड्रीज नहीं एक्सटेंड करती, एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन्स जो नहीं है, राइट, 30 नॉटिकल माइल्स के बियॉन्ड जो हैं, उसके बियॉन्ड, राइट, यूएन क्लॉज जो है, लॉ ऑफ ओपन सीज जो है, वो एप्लीकेबल रहता है. ओके ओके, नाउ इज इट क्लियर टू यू? कितना बताया? 30 नॉटिकल माइल्स. Okay. So, with respect to maritime trade, UN clause is considered a very sacrosanct, right, aspect, that unless or until UN clause is observed, right, there is going to be a lot of disputes among the countries, especially with respect to who is going to mine and who is going to be, right, I mean, take the resources from that particular part of the ocean. So, countries, they have affirmed the importance of maintaining and promoting peace, stability, safety and security in the South China Sea, in particular freedom of navigation and overflight in the entire region. Also, we know that US has already spoken about, right, a free and open Indo-Pacific, right? I'm sure you must have heard that US is present with respect to Japan also, बहुत close ally है Japan का, and US has maintained its presence in Taiwan. Okay. So please try and understand, US is very much present in the region in spite of not being there in the ASEAN grouping. ठीक है ना? मतलब regionally देखें तो ASEAN के अंदर US present नहीं है. But we have to understand, okay? We have to understand that US is very much present, right? Very much present on the basis of, you can say, Japan and on the basis of Taiwan. Okay. So US has a very clear-cut view with respect to the Indo-Pacific, which is your free and open Indo-Pacific, right? So a strategic region that has witnessed renewed global focus in view of China's expansionist behavior, right? Now coming to those students who do not know what ASEAN is and what is its relevance, so please try and understand that ASEAN is a regional grouping, right? And it promotes economic, political, and security cooperation. So there is cooperation in three dimensions, which is your economic, political, and security. So there are three dimensions in which the ASEAN countries they are going to work together. Okay. So ASEAN is considered one of the most influential groupings in the region, and India and several other countries, including US, China, Japan, Australia, are the dialogue partners of ASEAN. Now, remember that ASEAN was established back in 1967, right? Now, this is the same time period when your ADB was established. Do you remember? ADB, Asian Development Bank. Okay. And it had 5 founding members. Okay. So the founding fathers of ASEAN were namely Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. And these 5 countries together, they signed up something called as Bangkok Declaration. Bangkok Declaration. And then started the development story, right? So the Singapore that we see today, the Malaysia that we see today, right? That is entirely due to the fact that ASEAN as a region has been able to increase its trade relations and has been able to promote the economic activity at that scale, right? So moving ahead, 10 members, currently it has 10 members. So after 1967, the second round of membership was opened up back in 1990s, right? In fact, since 1984, you will find countries like Brunei, countries like Cambodia, right? These countries will also join in, and currently today, you will find that there are in totality 10 members. आज के दिन इसमें 10 members हैं, okay? So taken as a single entity, ASEAN represents world's third largest market after China and India. Third largest market. And world's third largest labor force with 630 million people, or 9% of the world's population, and half of the population is under 30 years old. Half of the population of these countries is 30 years old. तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि ये भी एक young demography है. This is also a young demographic group, and thereby we say that the 21st century belongs to the East, right? कुछ सालों तक चाइना डोमिनेट करेगा, उसके बाद इंडिया, और उसके बाद इंटायर रीजन जो है ये डोमिनेट करना शुरू करेगा. So ASEAN is expected to become the world's 4th largest economy by 2030, and it is India's 4th largest trading partner with about US dollar 86.9 billion in trade. Okay. So you can understand the importance of this region with respect to us, with respect to other countries also. Now, what is the present status of relations between India and ASEAN? So, ASEAN region along with India together comprises a combined population of 1.85 billion people. 1.85 sir, okay. 1.3 हम हैं, और उसके बाद 1.85 billion people हैं in totality, which is 1/4 of global population. And their combined GDP has been estimated at over US dollar $3.8 trillion. 3.8 trillion. Now the ties between India and ASEAN, they have been on an upswing in the last few years, where the focus has been on ramping up cooperation in the areas of trade and investment, as well as security and defense, right? Now I would say RCEP was one of the thorns, right? Again, because RCEP broke down last year, we can very safely assume that the future of the relationship between India and ASEAN was not clear to a very large extent, right? Now, India places ASEAN at the center of its Indo-Pacific vision of security and growth for everyone in the region. So, India's relationship with ASEAN is the key pillar of foreign policy and also the foundation of India's Act East policy. Act East policy, okay. तो तो भारत की जो एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी है, राइट, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द एंटायर नॉर्थ ईस्ट, एंटायर रीजन ऑफ द ईस्ट, राइट, पहले क्या था, लुक ईस्ट था. सो फ्रॉम लुक ईस्ट टू एक्ट ईस्ट, ASEAN basically holds a key position with respect to the foreign policy of the country. Okay. Next आता है इसमें, partnership with ASEAN nations might help India counter the growing presence of Beijing and to develop connectivity through water. ASEAN and India, they are working on multiple projects. One of the most critical projects, by the way, is your KMMT, Kaladan Multimodal Transit Project. Kaladan Multimodal Transit Project. क्या है? What is Kaladan Multimodal Transit Project? Kaladan Multimodal Transit Project is going to connect your Kolkata port to Sitwe Port, SITTWE, Sitwe Port, which is in the Rakhine district, RAKHNE, Rakhine of Myanmar, right? And once it is connected to this, then through road, and then finally through river, which is Kaladan River. Upstream travel करेंगे, and then we can enter into Indian territory. So this is almost one of the passageways that India is trying to develop in order to overcome the chicken neck corridor, right? भारत का जो चिकन नेक कॉरिडोर है, इसको अवॉइड करने के लिए भी इंडिया जो है इसको बिल्डअप कर रहा है. ठीक है. I hope you understand this much. Yes or no? Do you understand this part? Kaladan Multimodal Transit Project. Please remember, KMMT is in news. Why is this in news? This appeared, I think, somewhere around September, October. Because there have been delays that have been reported in this project. Okay. Chalo, very good. So ASEAN-India cooperation in the maritime domain is one of the key focus areas for growth and development of Indo-Pacific region, right? Now, what are the major issues with ASEAN? देखिए, one of the major issues with ASEAN today is that ASEAN has somewhat tried to act as a proxy for China, right? Now, I would say this specifically with respect to RCEP, because when RCEP negotiations were taking place, right, ASEAN countries, they were pushing India for a trade agreement. Now, considering the fact that India has a free trade agreement with ASEAN, India has a free trade agreement with almost every other country except China within that group, right? Now, the only benefit that we could see with India signing on a trade agreement with RCEP would be directly to China, where Chinese goods will start flowing into our country, right? So, one of the key aspects is that China somehow has meddled into the affairs of these countries, which may push India behind, and to a very large extent this may hamper the relationship that India once shared with ASEAN nations. Okay, so tension with China. So ASEAN nations, by and large, there are various conflicts with China in South China Sea. However, ASEAN nations cannot do without China, and they do depend on its trade, right? So China is playing the lead role and is partial to some countries like Laos and Cambodia, and uses them against countries like Vietnam and Philippines. समझ रहे हैं आप क्या कर रहा है ये? एक टाइम पे ब्रिटिशर्स ने सिखाया था ना, ब्रिटिशर्स have taught this. So जो ब्रिटिशर्स कर रहे हैं वही कर रहा है. It is basically using their friends against them only, right? So it is using countries like Laos and Cambodia against countries like Vietnam and Philippines. So poorer nations in ASEAN which are not strong in infrastructure, for them there is a very lucrative offer which China is offering of developing infrastructure and is thereby making inroads on the basis of that, right? So somehow these countries are slowly and gradually they are coming directly under the sphere of influence of China, right? Which is a very major issue with respect to our trade relations or our relations with ASEAN grouping. Second problem क्या है sir? Second problem है Quad, ठीक है? This can be a possible issue. So ASEAN's Indo-Pacific geopolitics is bothering them, right? So ASEAN is the biggest group in the Indo-Pacific region, and it is quite apprehensive about the grouping of USA, Japan, India and Australia and making Quad without including a single nation from the ASEAN, right? तो इसमें क्या है, rising superpowers जो है ना region की, they have basically been grouped together with the developed nations like USA and Japan, right? To basically provide a kind of counterbalance to China, right? वैसे में, because no single nation of ASEAN is present here, right? This also presents us with a very critical question that with ASEAN not present, what is going to be or how, right? I mean, these countries are very much present in the region. How we are going to counterbalance China is also a very major question here, right? Next आता है इसमें bilateral relations. So India, Japan, South Korea, they are starting their own bilateral relations and not focusing on ASEAN nations, which can undermine the importance of ASEAN in the region. Okay. मतलब आप इसे कह सकते हो कि कहीं ना कहीं साउथ ईस्ट एशिया में से, राइट, some of the countries which had not explored their relations up till now, for example India, Japan and South Korea, right, मतलब बहुत ही लिमिटेड एस्पेक्ट में ट्रेड कर रहे थे एंड वी वर रिलाइंग ऑन द एज ओल्ड सेक्टर्स ओनली एंड वी वर नॉट एक्सप्लोरिंग अप, राइट. Now due to these countries coming together, right, South Korea, India, Japan coming together, there might be a push, right, amongst the trade which may undermine our relations with ASEAN. Okay. क्योंकि अभी तक हमारा बिगेस्ट ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर भी रहा है, वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर्स, राइट. नेक्स्ट आता है कंक्लूजन एंड आइडियाज, राइट. व्हाट कैन बी द वे फॉरवर्ड? सी, India needs to think of its policy regarding ASEAN and find new ways to integrate our relationship with them, right. ये जो चाइना की तरफ इन्फ्लुएंस गया है इनका और चाइना की तरफ ये जो गए हैं, राइट, that has somehow disturbed the balance, and definitely we can say today that India does need to think out of the box in order to basically reinvent that relationship with ASEAN countries. Second, Southeast ASEAN countries, they have regional influence of China, so they may not require hard power, right? So you can't just counter them with hard power, but what India can do is India can promote itself by soft power. तो अपना जो culture है ना, right, that is what India can look to promote in these countries. Indianism है, right? So ASEAN cannot retain its centrality if it becomes part of Chinese orbit. It has to maintain its centrality and need other powers like USA and India for soft balancing. Next is India needs to focus on the incomplete projects, right? So ये बहुत ही crucial aspect है that India basically takes up projects. We have seen this happening in Iran, right? ये हमने देखा ईरान में होते हुए. Iran had withdrawn, ईरान ने उठा के project बंद कर दिया था, disbanding कर दिया था, right? So India needs to complete the pending projects and right, complete them in a time-bound manner. So, for example, like Trilateral Highway, Kaladan project, which are going to enhance the connectivity and are going to provide lower logistics cost and motivate increased goods and services trade. So, India needs to focus on these projects and finish it upon time. Also, India needs to strengthen the individual strategic relationships with ASEAN countries and stronger strategic and security relations with equally strong economic ties will create greater interdependence between India and ASEAN members. Now this will serve as an effective counter to China's growing clout in the region. ठीक है जी? तो growing presence जो है चाइना का, उसको counter करने के लिए this might be a very good avenue. This might be a very good aspect. So just because some of the ASEAN countries and China have warmed up doesn't mean India should basically pull back, right? उतनी गर्मजोशी से बोलो, उतनी बात करो, उतना ही you should interact with these countries, right? This can also provide a very good counterbalance to the growing presence of Chinese in the entire region. Okay. Last and final point that I would like to emphasize is that big economies like India, Japan, South Korea, Australia, they should make economic infrastructure and technology basis relationship and partnership with ASEAN also, right? भाई ASEAN को क्यों ना include करें? Why shouldn't we include ASEAN also into this entire fold? So if we are going to cooperate together, countries like India, Japan, South Korea, we know we are going to be together, right? देख ही रहे हो आप कैसी partnerships निकल के आ रही हैं, right? Australia also. So we should start including these countries like ASEAN within the fold, right? To reduce the influence of China within the entire region. ठीक है? तो खुद भी participate करें और और बाकी कंट्रीज जो हैं ये इंडिया, जापान, साउथ कोरिया, जब इनके बीच में बात हो रही है तो इनको भी एनकरेज करें दैट वी शुड आल्सो कलेक्टिवली स्टार्ट टॉकिंग विद आसियान कंट्रीज एंड इंक्लूड देम इन दीज अरेंजमेंट्स. ओके, चलो तो इतना ही था आज. पर जाते जाते, राइट, बिफोर आई गो अवे, let me tell you about Gradeup Super. So to help you in your IAS exam preparation, Gradeup Super brings for you IAS 2021, which is a comprehensive course for GS pre-com mains, and the course is now available in English and Hindi medium. So you can speak to our counselors. All you need to do is you can simply dial 9650052904. Okay. Now what do you get in this course? You get 350 plus live classes, GS classes, pre-com mains. You get 325 plus PDFs, 5000 plus practice questions, additional classes of Yojana, India Yearbook, Kurukshetra magazine and CSAT. तो additional classes भी हैं, practice questions भी हैं, PDFs भी हैं, live classes भी हैं. You have 30 mock tests for pre, 20 sectional, 10 full length, 12 GS tests for mains, 2 essay tests, 7 previous year papers, right? And with Gradeup Super, what do you get? You get a comprehensive course for GS pre-com mains, a comprehensive course for prelims for EPFO, and also complete NCERT module. यही 3 star courses हैं हमारे, right? So you get access to all the 3 courses, right? नए जो आ रहे होंगे इनके अलावा, right? Gradual time period पे these courses, these batches do keep coming up, so you can enroll into these batches on a regular basis. Okay. All you need to do is just subscribe to Gradeup Super. So this is our star faculty. We have Harshmeet Singh, polity expert, appeared for UPSC CSE interview 14-15. Abhishek Rathore, history expert, appeared for UPSC CSE interview 13. Kumar Prateek, economics and CA expert, appeared for UPSC CSE interview 13, 14 and 17. Rohan Tyagi, geography and ecology expert, appeared for CSE interview back in 2017. This is me, Naman Jain, economics expert, appeared for CSE interview 15-16. This is Vasu Katara sir, I think जानते हैं आप. So ethics and internal security, appeared for CSE interview back in 17. This is Teja Sai sir, I think you have seen his classes also, right? So science and tech expert, appeared for CSE mains exam 16, 17, 18 and 19. Then we have Himani Suri ma'am, इनकी classes तो आपने देखी है definitely, right? So 12 PM ma'am जो है आजकल, right, आपके लिए editorial section लेती हैं. So appeared for CSE mains in 18 and 19 and she is an NCERT expert. And finally we have Shailendra sir. Shailendra sir has appeared for CSE mains in 15, 16 and 18. He's also an NCERT expert. So get access to your preferred live course with Gradeup Super, and 6 months course is, subscription is worth 15,000 rupees. 12 months of subscription is worth 21,600 and 24 months subscription is worth 27,000. So you can subscribe to Gradeup Super. You can also look at the per month cost. It reduces down as you increase the time period. So accordingly, in whichever year you are starting your preparation of college or whether you have passed out, you can basically choose your desired course. Okay. Chaliye, we also have certain daily free classes on Gradeup app. So we have magazine based interactive quiz at 10 a.m. We have daily editorial analysis at 12 p.m. We have UPSC EPFO, Lakshya EPFO classes coming up at 5 p.m. Then we have special 5 lectures where we cover A to Z of each topic at 7 p.m. Then at 8 p.m. we have Rankers series, IAS 2021 Rankers series at 8 p.m. Today I have a lecture on infrastructure models with you under this. तो आज 8 बजे मैं ही लूँगा lecture. फिर daily current affairs at 9 p.m. So you can definitely look up at these free classes without paying anything, right? All you can do is just subscribe to the platform. You can use it, utilize it, right? So thank you very much. Thank you very much for attending this session live. I will see you guys tomorrow with a brand new episode, right? We'll look at a new topic, fresh topic tomorrow, right? Till then, take care. Have a great day. In case you want to attend the 8 p.m. class, you can again meet me here at Gradeup platform at 8. I'll present infrastructure models today. So thank you very much. See you guys. Take care. Have a great day.